Okay.
So basically, we've got waterfowl hunting of some way, shape, or form everywhere from September 1 to February 15.
Well, that's awesome. What are your state limits for geese and then for ducks? Are they pretty typical or?
Yeah, they're fairly normal as far as everybody else. I haven't dug into the mallards. I know, or the see, we have a puddle duck and a sea duck limit,
Yeah.
and I've been into the Canadas. You know, I lease property for Canadas, which
Okay.
allows me to not have to deal with a boat and waiting in
Yeah.
water and all that. And when you get into your 50s, it becomes really nice to drive to the center of your field and not have to deal with water.
Yeah. I
So
think that's all ages though. I don't think that's just in your 50s.
and so it makes a beautiful thing when you can drive right to it and set everything up. But it is typical. I don't want to don't take it, without checking all your local laws. But it's basically a five bird kind of limit.
Yeah.
Based on hens and drakes and all that kind of
Hmm.
stuff, and broken between your wood ducks and your mallards, and your black ducks have a designated amount. Your woodies have a
Yeah.
designated. I think your woodies are two. They might have gone up. I'm not 100%, but your woodies have a designated amount. Your mallards and your black ducks do as well. And then yeah,
Okay.
then you can get out into your sea ducks, which is kind of cool because when you hunt the shoreline, you can combine the two. So
Yeah.
now you've got a sea duck limit along with your mallards that are down on the ocean and all that kind of stuff. So, and your Canadas. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what they were talking about in Alaska too. Is if you get in the right spot, you can go shoot your 8 puddle ducks, and then you can shoot your sea ducks, and you can shoot your geese. And I mean,
exactly. Because
it'd be a hell of a day.
I've gone down and I've shot Brant, Canada's, sea ducks, and puddle ducks all in one day.
Hmm. That'd be awesome.
So I mean, you want a killer day. That's only happened literally a few times for me, but it's really cool.
Oh
There's
yeah.
At
plenty.
least it's happened.
There's been, trust me, it doesn't happen often because there's plenty of days I'm shooting the passing freaking merganser just so my dog can have a retrieving something to retrieve.
Yeah.
So it's a really diverse area and it's really cool, but it's certainly not dependable, which to me is part of the appeal of it.
Hmm.
It makes those days that much better.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
know,
agree.
so
What
it
so with your just with Connecticut, so you said you do lease or your fields for geese anyway. Do you still hunt public land around Connecticut
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
and
I love hunting the tidal areas on the Connecticut River for Canada's. There's I'm a silhouette guy,
yeah.
and to me, I've had I really try to pay attention to a lot of different things. Like when I hunt North Zone, I wait till areas freeze up, and when you everybody hunts them when the water's available, and they go in there and they set up water spreads and everything. And I've gone in there and seen Canada's come in by the droves and just split you,
Yeah.
go down one side of the over. And I'm talking, you know, 10 feet, 15 feet off the water. Why
Hmm.
didn't they not set into us? And finally, get a dumb pair that comes by and you shoot them and they land behind you. And I walk 20 yards behind on the salt flat that's all matted down. And all of a sudden I'm looking and there's goose shit all around me. So I wait a week, everything freezes up, and we walk in and we set up a land spread.
Yeah.
And I walk in with silhouettes and I put out, between me and my buddies, we each carry in like, 4 dozen. So we put out,
Hmm.
12 dozen decoys, which you never see in a water spread.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, these birds, we couldn't knock them off us. I
Yeah.
mean, we just fucking pummeled them. I mean, the first three, flights that came over set right in, and we knocked our limit out. We're done. And so you really start to pay attention to what other people do. When they sit on the Connecticut River, they put out floaters. They're water hunting.
Yeah.
I don't. I put out silos on the sandbars. When the water recedes, everybody, you want to put
Yeah.
a full body there. Well, guess what? When the water hits a full body's belly or a boat goes by, that full body is
It's a
floating
floater
downriver.
now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you put a bunch of silos at belly deep up to exposed on a sandbar. I have knocked the piss out of Canada's. The other
Yeah.
thing is when you're going up, say you've got a little island or whatever that you're hunting on, you can't put full bodies going up a hill. They fall over.
Yeah.
You can't set them at an angle. They're
Yeah.
straight up and down. That's it. That's all you got. Silos you can stick in at an angle and have them
Yeah.
stand straight up and have it look like they're going up the edge of the water onto land and
Yeah.
create a real scenario.
Oh
So
yeah.
I've started doing a lot more of that. And people always say, "Oh, I kill my geese over 6 decoys." Well, fine. Bring your 6 decoys. I'll bring my 12 dozen. We'll see who limits out first.
Yeah.
I'm that's
But it's not about that, Matt. It's about enjoying it. It's
it's
about having fun.
enjoying it. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? I enjoy killing them. So,
Yeah.
so I'm bringing my 12 dozen.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna put in the work, I'm gonna do it.
Heard that. So with your public land in the state of Connecticut, what is there a lot of public land? And if so, I mean, how accessible is it, and is it well managed?
There is and there isn't. There are a
Yeah.
lot of state forest areas, there are a lot of ponds and all that kind of stuff, and they do get beat up pretty well, um, just because they are smaller. We
Yeah.
don't have the vast expanse of land that they do out west.
Mhm.
I can drive north to south, the entire state of Connecticut in about an hour and 15 minutes, and I can probably do side to side in about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, I can see farther in North Dakota than an hour and a half drive.
Yeah.
I've sat in goose spreads in North Dakota where I can see more than 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So, um, so it's a little different here. Areas get beat up pretty quick. You know, Birds are going to be in the state forests, are going to go into those swamps, are going to go into those areas. They're going to get beat up three or four, I shouldn't even say three or four, 2 or 3 times, and they're going to private land,
Yeah.
and you're just not going to kill them.
Hmm.
Um, but there are open areas, there are larger, we have a lot of coastline. We have
Yeah.
the Connecticut River. We have, the Quinnipiac. We have, all these different rivers that are coming down that offer a lot of waterfowl hunting. There is a lot of pressure. It's a matter of thinking outside the box. There's an area that I had that I love that's totally public for mallards,
Mhm.
woodies, black ducks, puddle ducks.
Yeah.
And it would get pounded, absolutely just carpet bombed for the regular duck season. I won't even go in there. I wait for the first frost. I wait for that first skim ice, because that first skim ice always happens, and it happens for a day or two, 2, 3 days, whatever. And I go in when it lets out, because number one, you got all fresh birds.
Yeah.
If it's iced up on you, everything north of you is getting pushed down.
Yeah.
So as soon as that water opens up, those birds don't want to be on the river. They want to be in the woodlands. They
Yeah.
want the nuts. They want to feed in there. I go in there after the first freeze and knock the living piss out of them every single time. So, you've got to think in air, and I shouldn't even say it's Connecticut. It's going to help you no matter what state you're in.
That's everywhere. Yeah.
You've got to think
Yeah, I
outside
agree.
the box. It's there's so much education on YouTube and all that, but guess what? When you really dive into it, it's all the same.
Yep.
I have coined a way of trout fishing that is the same as everything else that everybody else does. But it is so subtly different in every single realm of it that it should be illegal. It has been written up in Outdoor Life. It has been written up in Field and Stream to the point where Field and Stream found it so crazy they came up and filmed for 2 days. And out of over 10 or 11 years, or maybe even more than that, of them running that video series, it was the most watched video they ever did.
Really?
And it is so similar to what everybody else kind of does, but it's enough different that it is stupid effective. And that's
Yeah.
and that's the way I think about everything around here. I got an e-bike this year, and I didn't use it until the 3rd week of season for turkey hunting, because
Yeah.
everybody's pushing these birds into areas they don't want to go to. You walk in an hour and a half and you walk out an hour and a half, and that's half your morning. You're
Yep.
done. Where else are you going? So I can get a mile and a half in like 5 minutes on a bike.
Mm-hmm.
So I get an e-bike and I'm in, and all of a sudden, I go in the first day I ever take the bike out. I go to a landlocked piece of state, mile plus in, way the hell in, crazy hills, crazy everything. I shoot an 1 3/8 spurred bird, and I called 2 in and self-filmed it. They both came in and I killed them at 20 yards.
Really?
I couldn't buy a bird. There are so many people hunting this year. I swear to God, I could go to a store. Turkey hunting was so bad this year. I could go to the grocery store and my credit card would probably be denied if I tried to buy a turkey. That's how bad it was. But I thought outside the box.
Yeah.
There's areas that I know that people go and they just beat the living shit out of it. And I will not go there until 10 o'clock, because I know they go there every single morning. They beat the living shit out of it. Those birds get wise. They shut down. Everybody leaves. You go back at 10 o'clock and you got a lonely gobbler looking for a freaking hen.
Yep.
Same thing with duck hunting. Same
Mhm.
thing with goose hunting. Perfect example for goose hunting here in Connecticut. We had a hurricane come through. Actually, I shouldn't say hurricane. It was downgraded to a tropical storm. So it was 40, 50 mile an hour winds with 60 mile an hour gusts came through, and I was watching radar. And I knew that storm was going to be past by about 1 o'clock, 1:30. And those birds aren't going to get up and fly during a hurricane or during a
Yeah.
storm like that. I told the guys on the lease, it was Saturday. I said, guys, I'm showing up. That storm will be past at 1:30. I'm showing up at that farm at 1:15, and I'm starting to set those decoys out, and I'm going to hunt. And they're all like, are you serious? And I'm like, I'm telling you, they are not flying. They have to eat. And I went out there. They all went. They believed in me. We all went. We set up the decoys. We got halfway set up, and the birds started just full. I mean, like droves. These birds have been sitting down, not eating for a day and a half, 2 days.
Yeah.
They were conveyor belts of flights coming in.
They got
And
the right land.
we had birds. We had our decoys laying in the field. We didn't even hide the trucks. We pulled the trucks to the back of the spread. The trucks were still in the field. We had our limit in 15 minutes. We're done.
That's crazy.
So I actually did that with the guy from the Patriots. He goes, dude, it's gonna be raining. We're not gonna be able to set up the decoys. I said, you're right. It's going to be, we're going to, usually you're in there at, 4:30, 5 o'clock, setting up the decoys for first
Yeah.
light. I'm like, we're going to set up the decoys at 7:30. He goes, it's going to be light. I'm like, yeah, well, the birds ain't going to be flying. It's going to be pouring rain. So we're at the field at 7 o'clock. We couldn't even drive into the field. It was so wet. So we're on the edge of the field at 7 o'clock. And I'm watching the radar. There's a radar app that's called My Radar. It is awesome. You want something to watch your live radar for hunting? It's called My Radar. It's free.
My radar.
Yep.
Got it.
So I get My Radar, and the other thing that My Radar does is that there's different layers. It'll actually show you wind direction and speeds and all that kind of stuff as it gets more intense. So it's a great tool.
Yeah.
So I'm watching My Radar, and with the storm coming through, the prevailing wind above was different on the news, on the forecast for the wind, than it was for the storm coming in lower. So I watched My Radar, and it showed us the active winds.
Mm-hmm.
So we set up against what the normal news weather called the prevailing wind for the day.
Yeah.
I trusted what was going on. I set up in the opposite direction. Sure and shit, that's the way the wind stayed. And we, it was basically drizzle. We got out there, started setting it up when it just started stopping the rain. By the time we got set up, pulled all of our shit out of the field as far, empty bags and all that kind of crap. Sat down, birds were flying. We're done in, half hour.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So everybody else would have said, oh, we can't get out there to set up. It's going to be too late. It's going to be raining. I said, we're going to wait until, we're going to get a little wet, but we're going to set up a half hour before it's done. And we're going to kill the birds when they decide to get up and fly.
Yeah. Yep. And that's all it takes. Like you said, is just everything, no matter where you're at, it just comes down to not only knowing your areas, but knowing your birds. And I think that's something everyone can apply to
anywhere,
any species alone. I mean, deer hunting or turkey hunting or anything. I mean, everything you're doing. The biggest part is just studying your area.
Yep.
And they act different everywhere you're at. I mean, how the birds act in Connecticut is completely different than how they'll act down here in Louisiana. So you can't just take the advice that you see on YouTube. I mean, take it, but apply it to where you're at. Because those dudes in North Dakota, like you said, who are watching, thousands and thousands of mallards every day, their way of scouting and what they do is based off of that. It's not based off of what you're going to be seeing. So I think that's where a lot of people get stirred wrong is they take advice, but they don't apply it.
Right.
Or use their brain power to put it in perspective for themselves.
Perfect example for early season Canadas. You might as well throw every normal rule of Canada hunting out the window.
Yeah.
I had Outdoor Life up here hunting a resident hunt. We're within 500 feet. In order to hunt within 500 feet, you have to have written permission from the landowner of a house. We're within 500 feet of 5 houses. It was an equestrian village, I guess you'd call it. And the Canadas were in there so thick as they were chasing the cow or the horses away from like the hay feeding out there because they be feeding on the seed and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So these Canadas were a total nuisance. Well, the wind was coming out of the northwest, prevailing wind. I set up about 90 degrees opposite of the wind. And the guy from the magazine's like, dude, man, you're not setting up with the wind, dude. They're not going to set this way. I'm like, they're going to come around. I don't care what the wind is. They're going to come through that break in the trees, get below tree level, and they're going to set in. And he goes, but what about the wind? I said, it doesn't fucking matter about the wind, dude. They've got one way. They've got one way into this field through the trees, and that's the way they're going to come.
Yeah.
And that's the way they came. They came in, they skirted the wind a little bit, but they came through the break in the trees, dropped below tree level, and set into the field. So, especially around here in Connecticut, because our fields are very small. We don't have huge expanse. We don't have quarters.
Yeah.
Our quarters are quarter acre. So, for us to have a couple hundred yards in a field that's a good sized field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So you've got to pay attention to the lay of the land a lot more out here. A lot of different aspects, man. A lot of
yeah. So with your hunting, I mean, obviously, it's taken you many, many places, and I know you told me a number earlier, but how many states have you got the chance to hunt in?
I've hunted 26 out of 50. Not all
Oh,
just waterfowl. I've killed my grand slam of wild turkeys. I've called it the Grand Nationals. I've won multiple state titles for turkey. I've
yeah.
won goose and duck titles. Called it I judged the worlds for Canada for goose calling. I've hunted the whole central flyway for waterfowl, basically from North Dakota down through Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
So
out of all those states, what state waterfowl wise was your favorite?
there isn't. There isn't,
Okay.
man. You can't you can't compare the the sand hills of North Dakota to the potholes of South Dakota to the just off of the refuges and everything, those farmlands of
Yeah.
southern Missouri to
Mm-hmm.
damn, come on, flooded timber in Mississippi or Louisiana. I mean, I hunted Terra wildlife down there. I mean, that's epic.
Yeah.
I hunted Terra down in Mississippi, flooded timber and Terra. I mean, really? So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like turkeys. You can't compare the scrub brush of Texas to the palm meadows of Florida to the mountains of West Virginia.
Yeah.
If you can't appreciate all of its beauty, then you might as well put your gun down and start, crocheting a sweater or something.
So you've hunted 50% of the states, but of the ones left, what's your number one state you want to visit to hunt?
I don't know, man. I just went out to Bozeman, Montana, trout fishing. Now
Yeah.
that kind of tickled my fancy, man. That was that was epic, man. That was epic.
Montana's a beautiful country, man.
It's pretty stupid, man.
I have two aunts that live up in Montana, and it's amazing up there. And you can do so much up there. That's a whole. Well, we have that podcast coming eventually, but I was gonna say it's a whole other episode. But
yeah,
it will be.
We hunted the Yellowstone, the Madison, the Gallatin, and the Jeff all in one trip.
Really?
I mean, you're looking at some of the biggest blue ribbon trout rivers in the world, and not that there's not better and everything, but those are epic. And it was pure stupidity, man.
I can
was
imagine.
insane.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you do have a dog, right?
Oh yeah.
And are you a lab guy or what?
Oh yeah. Yep. I've got a lab. He's I would say that he's fairly serious. If any guys out there that are listening and are familiar with some of the older lines, he's out of Lean Mac. Which they're not. It's his great grandfather. Lean Mac's his great grandfather. My last dog was his grandfather. Lean Mac was his grandfather, and he was actually Lean Mac super tanker. So he was a Lean Mac super tanker, Harley to go, and Candlewood Kate dog.
And then
if you're versed in kind of that last generation of labs, that's about as good as you can possibly get in the world.
Mm-hmm. So how is your pup now?
He's a dick. Oh, how is he or how old is he?
Well, both, yeah.
I thought you said, how's your dog now? He's a dick.
Well, no, yeah. After the couple computer incidents we've had today, I kind of assumed he's pretty. His behavior is typical of all other labs.
Oh yeah. He's an American, so he's straight out. Either he's sleeping or he's full ball energy, man.
Oh yeah.
He's 3.5, and he's a machine, man. He is.
Oh yeah.
I got him out of a kennel, actually a private kennel. I mean, I've gotten my labs basically all revolving around Rebel Ridge out of Maryland.
Okay.
And they've had some pretty stellar dogs in the past, nationally and internationally. And I've been very, very blessed. I think my last dog, he was one of the only ones of the entire litter that didn't go trials.
Really?
And yeah. I don't trial them. I mean, these dogs retrieve, more birds than most people lie about.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I force fetch them. I do the whole deal. But I don't bully them through the competition restrictions.
Yeah.
I still have my dog on a lead in the blind. I hunt with 5 other guys, and I don't care what's going on. I had my dog go out. I released him and sent him out on a retrieve and another dog while he was going for that crip, which is the first bird I put my dog on. He went and he pulled that trigger right in front of my dog on that crip as he was going to tackle him. And I walked over and I stood over a guy that was probably 15 years my senior. And I walked over and I stood over him like he was a 4-year-old kid that opened his Christmas present early. And I said, dude, I said, you are out of my field. I said, unload your gun right now. You are not welcome back.
Yeah.
I don't give a flying fucking rolling donut who you are. You pull that shit in my spread and you're done. I tell, that type of stuff is first and foremost in my spread. And I don't care how long you've been hunting. I don't care how old you are. I'm going to tell you what's right and what's wrong in my field.
Yep.
When the dog is out there, you do not pull the trigger unless I give you the okay. You do not shoot that crip just because it's moving. You do not sit up and take the shot on your own bird unless I call the shot. Unless it's banded or unless it's collared. But you better not miss it. If it's collared, you got all the right in the world to sit up and shoot that damn thing, no matter how many birds are circling, but you better hit it.
No, I understand. And I'm kind of the same philosophy when we go on hunts and stuff. I mean, you always have the captain of the hunt.
Yep.
And when I'm the captain of the hunt, I mean, I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy that's out there, but hey, man, I mean, if I'm pulling the legwork and we're going to my spot or we're hunting in my blind, and you just sit there and enjoy. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah,
just listen and
this
laugh.
guy, I let a bird come in and go to land. So because we had another probably 12.5 cupped and dropping in.
Mm-hmm.
2 birds came in and one of them dropped down right in front of him. He sat up and found it necessary to shoot it because he was going to land. That went over like a fart in church. In my book.
Yeah, we've had our fair share of engagements in the blind, and I don't know. I don't try to be a dick, but like I take hunting serious, and
That's it, man. It's safety.
I hate hunting with people who don't take it serious. And not just from a safety standpoint, but man, I mean, we invest so much time and money and sleep and time away from our family, and all the work that goes into it. I don't just go out there to act like a fucking fool. And some people don't respect that. So I mean, and I'm, I mean, fuck, me and Vang both spent. He spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. I'm still in, so I've never been one to keep my mouth shut by any means. I mean, I'll let you know what I'm thinking. So, Yeah, some people don't like my confrontation, but I don't like most people, so it works out.
Right?
So what kind of shotgun do you shoot, Matt? What's your go-to gun?
I'm shooting a Frankie right now.
Yeah.
Yep. I
And
I
what?
actually talked to Benelli and discussed kind of some things with them. And I told him, the guy asked me, he goes, "Why don't you want to shoot a Benelli?" I said, "Because most people can't afford that."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Frankie's made now is made in the same Benelli in Italy is Benelli, correct? And he goes, yes.
Yeah.
I said it has the same bolt action as Benelli, with the exception of the gas up front and not sealed in the back. So you got to kind of keep it a little bit cleaner. But for all intents and purposes, the same kinetic energy action, correct?
Yeah.
He goes, yes. I said, well, then, you know, basically for a hell of a lot less, you're getting a very, very similar gun that's very dependable. And I said, I like promoting that to, the people that watch and listen and all that. Could I shoot a Benelli? Yeah. But, I think kind of go back to the bismuth thing. There's a lot more guys that can afford, your Winchester, your Federal stuff than they can bismuth. There's a lot
Yeah.
more guys that can afford $1,000 or $900 Frankie than they can a $2,000 Benelli.
Yep. Yep.
So, and for me, taking it down, and quite honestly, last season, I think I cleaned it once because it was in the blind and it was raining and the dog was all over it with freaking mud and everything, and the rain was in it, and I didn't want it to rust up. So that was the only reason I cleaned it.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of good things about them, and these are some of the questions that we ask every week that the followers before we started this that they kind of wanted to know. One of the most requested was what kind of shotgun everyone shoots, um, and
Yep.
I think it gets that's. I think it's another. At the end of the day, to an extent, you start paying for the name that's on the gun, and you stop paying for the gun itself. Um, and I'll be the first to admit, the gun I shoot it's made by ATA. It's a Turkish gun
Yep.
that I bought for dirt cheap. I mean, I paid $300 for it, brand
I
new.
shot at Charles Daly for many years.
And I ran it all last year, and I am very prone to using shotguns as paddles and dropping them in the marsh, and I put it up wet more times than I don't. And I never had any issues out of it, and that's why I've just stuck with it. You put a choke in it and find a good shell, and you're fine. So
I can tell you one thing: learn your gun.
yep.
You guys are military. God bless you, and thank you guys. Number one, during this podcast, thank you guys for your service.
Well, thank you, man.
Thank you.
But and welcome home, by the way.
Thanks.
There's you guys got to know your gun, because guess what? I don't give a shit how much they pay for that AR, that AK, that M16, whatever it is that you're shooting. And there will be failures.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason they teach you to break down your guns and put them back together.
Yep.
Learn your guns. Don't expect because you spent $2,000. I've seen Benelli's fail. I can make a Benelli fail. It's an inertia gun.
Mm-hmm.
You can shoot light loads, and guess what? If it's not on your shoulder and you let that thing swing backwards, it's not going to cycle that shell.
Yep.
It needs to recoil. It needs to punch your shoulder in order for that thing to work. So I've seen $1,000+ Berettas fail. I've seen Super X's fail. I've seen everything fail. Know your gun so you can safely take it apart in the field, put it back together. Keep a little thing of oil in a rag in a Ziploc bag.
Yep.
Wipe the sand out of it because your dog's jumping in there or whatever. There's always something that can go wrong. Know it, know how to get rid of it safely. I can tell you the other thing, because that Benelli is not going to shoot any better than a Mossberg 500 or a Remington 870. Because I've been at national competitions and outshot people without, tens of thousands of dollar value guns with a Mossberg 9200.
Yep.
It does not make the shooter. Now, I can tell you some of the things they've done by adding shims and actually fitting them correctly to you. Now, that makes a difference, the way that gun comes up. But, all in all, it half the people out there, if there were actually a gun put in their hands that actually fit them properly, they'd probably think it's all fucked up and weird because they're so used to fitting themselves to the old 870 or the 500 or the 835 or whatever it is that they've been shooting for years.
Yeah.
They've become accustomed to that, and that becomes their norm.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that goes back, like we talked about earlier, with patterns and everything. It's the little things people tend to overlook, and they kind of get in that mindset of, oh well, I bought this fucking brand new SBE3, so I mean I don't have to do anything. It should just point, shoot, and kill. I mean, so
Yeah.
I mean, to each their own. If you got the money to just do that, then that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
not me, brother.
But so, what kind of shells do you shoot? What do you find yourself reaching for?
I shoot blindside.
Yeah.
Yep, Carlson's choke and a blindside.
What shot size do you use?
Twos.
For
Canadas.
Yeah.
What's your? Oh, go ahead, Thad.
Go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I was gonna ask, what's your like go-to duck recipe? How do you cook them? How do you cook them?
Depends on what you're doing, man. I'm a grill guy. I love grilling. So, there's a ton of different ways, I mean, to me, I don't marinate anything. To me, if you marinate your meat, then you're just killing it, man. You're compensating for not cooking it right.
Okay.
I was actually blessed many years ago. I worked at a very young age in a very, very high-end restaurant, and way beyond my means of, ever being able to dine there. And I was exposed to some incredible food. My girlfriend actually right now is a trained chef from Europe. So,
Wow.
with venison and all wild game and all that kind of stuff, there's no fat in it. There's fat on a duck, but there's no fat in the meat.
Yeah.
So, especially with a goose where you're skinning it, you're taking that that fat off. I mean, I've plucked geese before, but I'm sorry, I ain't doing that again. But so you've got to cook them medium rare. You have to.
Yeah.
And I just use a dry rub, sear them strong, do it to a medium rare, and leave those juices in there. High heat is going to keep those juices in. And if you do that, you're going to have a juicy piece of meat. Now, there is one thing that no matter what game it is, duck, goose, pheasant, venison, elk, caribou, I don't care what it is you're hunting. You'll use it on regular steak. You'll use it on pork chops. You'll use it on chicken. I'm telling you, you're laughing.
Okay.
I shit you not. Everybody get your pens ready because you are going to need this. I'm telling you right now. A buddy of mine, I took out loin and I took out a piece of freaking shank from a deer. And I hit the shank with this thing and grilled it the same as I did the loin, and they couldn't tell the difference. Okay? It's called a jacquard. Jaccard. Now go and find a
Jacquard.
pen that actually works because you're probably using one that doesn't.
I used my phone.
Yeah, Jacquard.
I'm googling it.
Jaccard. And there's a 1, 2, and a 3 layers of razor blades. Get the 3.
Oh shit. Yeah.
And it literally, I believe it's what the Ruth's Chris uses for their steaks. But what it does is it doesn't pound the meat to actually get it tenderized. It actually takes razor blades, and I think the 3-leveled one has 36 razor blades that cuts through the meat. And if you go up and back, flip it and go up and back with it, you can damn near cut just about any piece of meat with a fork.
Huh.
You will use it on everything.
Jacquard. They got it on Amazon, man. It can be here tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yep. Well, Friday.
It is-
Free delivery Friday. I'm gonna take your word for it right now. I'm just gonna order one.
It is
Make a video for it, Dad. I want to see it.
It is absolutely the bomb. You will not be disappointed.
You don't have to tell me twice.
And you're just putting this on the grill, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And I like
Jacquard.
my goose. I dry rub the goose.
Oh. Matt?
Yep, I got you.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
You just like went quiet there.
Yep, I dry rub the goose and do it on a high heat grill, and that's it. I use a radiant grill, so.
All right,
Okay.
I'll have to give that a try.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't get to eat a lot of geese during the season. So, but we had one. I think it was California. He was telling us about his geese. He plucks them and roasts them, all of them, but they don't kill that many of them, I don't think. But he was telling me that's the only way they'll eat them is they'll pluck them.
Yep.
But I mean, I assume with how many geese you kill, I would never fucking pluck that many geese in my life.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
No. Everybody
If
says, "Do you pluck them?" I say, "Yeah, I plucked one once."
Yeah, our limit down here in Louisiana, we can kill one Canada. We don't even fuck. I've seen 3 Canadas the whole time I've been here. I've shot one, so I have limited out on Canadas here. But I'm pretty sure it was like this dude's fucking neighbor's duck. So.
All right, Thad. I just sent you a picture, Thad. Check your phone. That's goose breast. What I just sent you in a medium
wow.
rare.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put this on. I'll put this on the video. I tried to show the camera, but they'll have to see this one.
Yeah.
Man, that's a nice picture too.
Oh, with a 12-year Weller, that's like a unicorn whiskey right there, baby. So
living the life in Connecticut.
So 12-year-old Weller with fresh. That was right off the field too, man.
Yeah, that is nice. So, well, hopefully I can kill another Canada this year, but I doubt it. When we go up to Indiana this winter, I'll definitely be able to. But I got one more question for you, Matt.
You got it.
That I have to ask everybody.
I didn't do it.
Every morning. Well, every morning, when you're heading out to the duck blind, you're packing up your blind bag or whatever. What is your go-to snack to get you through the morning hunts?
My go-to snack. Well, number one, I grab coffee, and I'm not a smoker, but I used to be, and for some reason, and even it like 20 years ago, I was like a pack-a-day smoker.
Yeah.
And even when I was smoking that much, I never, ever, ever smoked in the morning. To this day, when I goose hunt, after I'm done setting up the spread, I'll still have a cigarette. I don't know why. I have no idea, but I got to have my coffee on the way out up to the field. I don't usually eat breakfast, but I am like about halfway up. If I'm kind of hungry going up, I am kind of a Dunkin' Donuts sausage, egg, and cheese kind of guy.
Okay.
But when it's really freaking cold, there's this stuff, some people bring coffee, some people bring hot chocolate. When it's really cold, I get a thermos and there's this stuff, it comes in a jar and it's called Better Than Bouillon. Now, you know what a bouillon cube is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, you got chicken and you got beef and all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff, right? Well, Better Than Bouillon is actually, it comes in a jar and it's a paste and it's an actual reduction of like chicken and vegetables and all that stuff. It is like insane.
Hmm.
And what I will do is take like hot water, like out of the Keurig, first thing in the
Yeah.
morning. I'll just throw hot water into it and I'll take a spoonful of the chicken and put it in there. And I'll tell you, man, when it is really cold and you take a sip of that like comforting chicken soup kind of
Yeah.
broth, oh, it's game over. Forget the coffee, forget the hot chocolate. I mean, it just goes right through you and you feel your core warm up, man. It's awesome.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Because me and Maddie, my fiance, we'll use the Keurig and fill up a cup and throw in we'll get a bouillon cube,
Oh,
cut it in half, and we'll
not
each throw one in
even
a cup.
close,
And
dude. Not even a close second to Better Than Bouillon.
yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up.
I'm telling
So
you right now.
so does that run through you too, pretty quick, being
Oh, no.
warm?
No,
Okay.
no, I take care of that, dude. As soon as my feet hit the ground, I'm hitting it, bro.
All right.
And then we got it timed. We got a thing on the highway that's right about the time for number 2. No pun intended. You know,
Yeah.
we're all bailing out. It's funny, I've got 4 other guys that are in on the lease with me, man. And it's funny. You'll pull into the lease because it's, we're all on that timeline of meeting together at the exit,
Yeah.
So we all get in there and it's like it's a rotating door going through that shitter, man. It's like
Yeah.
because you're about a cup of coffee in, and things
Yeah.
get going.
Mhm.
It's like, all right, we gotta take care of this. Either that or everybody's running to the freaking edge of the field, man.
Yeah, well, and that's the worst too. Is you wake up and you're fine, and then you load up and get your coffee, and you're driving, and you finish your first cup of coffee, and you're like, "Fuck, man,
Oh
we
yeah.
gotta pull off here real quick." So
That
when
is
we plan,
that
that's
is a
planned in our
benefit of
time schedule.
Connecticut small fields. The hedgerow is close.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Matt, I will say first and foremost, man, thank you. I also want to say I'm sorry. We told you, I told you 30, 45 minutes of your time. I just looked at the timer and
Yeah,
it's an
that would be
hour and
bad. It's an
40
hour and
minutes.
41 minutes here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sorry for keeping you an extra hour.
You know what? I'm blessed with a wonderful woman that she knows my gig, and actually it's funny because when we first started dating, I told her I said you got to live with me for a year before you actually understand if you actually want to be with me. And
Yeah.
after getting up and going goose hunting or duck hunting and stuff, she's like, I don't get what the problem is. I'm like, what? She goes, from 3 o'clock on, I got the bed to myself.
Yeah.
She's
That
like, I
might
don't know,
be.
I don't know what your issue is here. You're telling me this is horrible, but no, man, I've been blessed and quite, and she actually loves fishing.
Yeah.
She digs the fishing gig and she
That's
loves
awesome.
cooking up the game and all. And so, whether it's 45 minutes or an hour and 45, she's cool with it.
And that's we actually talked about, or well, I talked about that, man. We're built different. It just if you're anything like me, it's just go, 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 and you got so much shit going on all the time. Uh, and your woman's got to be built different too. Maddie,
You ain't
I don't
kidding.
know how she puts up with my shit, and literally I'll come home and be like, "Hey, babe, listen to this. I got this crazy idea." let's start this. I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be a new branch off of Flying V or whatever. And she's just like, oh yeah, okay, babe. When are you gonna do that?
My issue is now, you know, when Costa sends me a set of glasses or something, or I get a new rod and reel, she's like, well, where's mine?
I'm gonna be asking the same thing.
Right? Exactly.
So you get one, but you still have to buy one.
Yeah, right.
That
I slide her in there. She's part of that fishing cruise, so she gets
Yeah.
taken care of.
That's awesome, man. Well, Matt, it was awesome. I'm not
Absolutely, man.
upset at all that it took so long.
No, I'm glad we
enjoyed
could make it
talking with
happen
you.
for you.
Yeah, thank you again. I don't think I said at the beginning of the episode, guys, but we had another failure, and Matt put on his superhero cape and saved the day all the way in Connecticut. So for you, man, if you ever need anything at all, just holler at me. Like I said, I don't know what I could possibly do for you, but hey, the world works in funny ways. So
You know it, man. Absolutely. And you guys have already done that. You guys have helped us keep us being able to live the way we live and enjoy our freedoms. And bless both you guys for doing that. And yeah, just check out some of our stuff on YouTube, man. Real Outdoors TV.
oh
We got,
yeah,
For sure.
yeah, you know, and just so everybody knows, you know, none of my sponsors are monetary and none of them are pro staffs. They are all friends. I use them because I love the products, and the people behind them are just as good. And you know, we just do it for one. We're weekend warriors, just like all you guys out there. And we try to make it happen and bring it to you on video, and keep close watch, because I'm working with GoPro right now, and I can't talk about what I'm doing, but I'm doing something pretty cool that if it works, there's going to be some changing in the way video's done. It's going to be pretty epic, man.
well, that's awesome, man. I can't wait. Obviously, I love to make video, but I'm excited. So you'll have to keep me in the loop on that one when it finally comes out. But
Yeah, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt.
guys, thank you
appreciate it, Matt.
again. Matt, Vang, thank you guys for coming on. Thanks
Thank
to
you
all the
guys for having
listeners.
me, man. I appreciate you both.
All right. Well, everyone, have a good night.
You got it, guys. Have a good one, and
Bye-bye.
have a great season, everybody. Hunt
Thanks.
hard and hunt safe.